I am certified pet professional Amy Lee. The only difference between you and your groomer is knowledge, technique, and tools. It is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the grooming industry. So stay put as we get started on this journey together today.
Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Lee, certified professional pet groomer since 2003. But it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the grooming industry so you can provide quality care for your beloved pets at home. That's what we do every Monday at 5:30 right here live from the grooming table, and I am so happy that you're with me tonight. Tonight's topic is one that has been requested for probably the last year and a half. So we're doing a deep dive today, guys, into the topic. Tonight's topic is all about anal glands, your dog's anal glands. What are your dog's anal glands and why do they have them? I'm going to answer these questions for you tonight. There are reasons why your dog scoots, and maybe you might have a little bit of problem there. You might be part of the problem with why your dog is scooting their little butt across the floor. But I'm going to help you with that, and I'm going to help your pet. That's why we're doing this. So in this video, I will explain exactly why you should stop squeezing your dog's anal glands and how to provide healthy options for your dogs, that you're not going to have to do that and why you shouldn't have to. If you do what I'm going to talk to you about tonight, you're not going to have to express your anal glands. Not your anal glands, your dog's anal glands. You won't have to. That's why I'm doing this tonight. I can't wait to bring this information to you. It's a lot of people are misunderstood on this topic, guys, and we're going to do a deep dive on it tonight. I will also address a few common questions that many pet owners have regarding their dog's anal glands, such as, can anal glands cause problems for your pets if they are not functioning properly? They absolutely can, and we're going to talk about that. How do you know if your dog's anal glands are in proper working order? That's a big question too, right? Because your dog can't just tell you. They do show you signs. We're going to talk about that today. And one of the biggest things that I'm going to drive home for you guys tonight is, should you, your vet, your groomer, manually express your dog's anal glands? Should you? Or could this prove to be harmful to your pet? This is very important, and I can't wait to give the info. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to lay it on you right now. Let's watch this demo together, because afterwards we're going to get chatty right here in the chat. If you have any questions, throw a line in front of your question so I can see it's a question, and I will be sure to get to it. But here we go, guys. Let's talk anal glands. What are your dog's anal glands, and why do they have them? Can these anal glands cause problems for your pet if they're not functioning properly? How do you know if your dog's anal glands are in proper working order? And the last question I will answer today about your pet's anal glands: should you, your vet, or your groomer manually express your dog's anal glands? Or could this prove to be harmful to your pet? Anal glands are really not glands at all. They're little sacs located right inside your dog's rectum at about 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, just inside the anus. These glands are sweat sacs that contain oil, sweat, and pheromones. Pheromones are chemical messengers that identify your pet to other animals. When another animal sniffs your dog's butt, they quickly get all the information explaining who they are and what is the status of their health, their age, their sex, and many other details. Think of it as viewing someone's profile on Facebook or Instagram. And because we are not dogs, we're merely humans, we're not 100% sure of the purpose anal glands serve. However, we believe anal glands definitely act as a natural form of identification for your dog, as well as the oil inside the anal glands acts as a natural lubricant that's released every time your dog has a bowel movement. One of the first noticeable signs that your dog's anal glands need cleaning is that he drags his rump across the ground. A buildup of fluid in the anal sacs can create pain, inflammation, itchiness, and your dog is scooting in effort to relieve the discomfort and to drain the glands. Again, when other dogs sniff your dog, the scent of the anal fluid identifies your pet's age, sex, their health, to the other dog. The glands serve other purposes too. According to the American Kennel Club, anal gland excretions may help your dog pass hard stools easier, as well as release pheromones, which dogs use as their territorial markers. In other words, the fluid that is excreted during your dog's bowel movements act as a natural lubricant and contains your dog's genetic unique scent. Some people speculate the anal glands are a leftover anatomical part from the ancestors of dogs and cats, who used to defend themselves by spraying. That's right, just like a skunk. Releasing this foul scent when the animal feels threatened would prove to be a distraction to the predator, allowing the prey to possibly escape a life-threatening situation. Let's think about that for a second. Wouldn't the world be a much more pleasant place if we solved our problems with butt spray instead of weapons and other forms of violence? We certainly stand to learn a lot from the animals we share this earth with, don't we, my friends? There are two factors that can be a problem if your dog's anal glands are not functioning properly. Occasionally, impaction happens when there's a blockage in the duct that drains the sac out. This can lead to infection in the duct if it becomes blocked, or inflammation. Are anal gland problems related to the sex of a dog, whether it's male or female? No, anal gland problems are more common in dogs than in cats, and they are much more likely to occur in small dog breeds than large dog breeds. Chronic or past problems with your dog's anal glands can lead to damaged or squished ducts. For example, prior infections, allergies, issues, stuff like that, complications can lead to chronic anal gland problems. Once anal sacs become impacted or infected, it causes pain and inflammation. And that's when you will notice your dog scooting and licking their rear ends obsessively. Even abscesses can form due to infected anal sacs that can rupture through the skin and drain. So what can we do if our beloved pets are having discomfort, impaction, or infection as a result of an anal gland problem? If your dog is having problems because of allergies, it's important to get the allergies under control, and that alone may correct the problem that they are experiencing with their anal glands. And in extreme cases, surgical removal of the anal glands is needed. But this is not common due to the possibility of future complications that your pet could suffer from for the rest of their lives. Oftentimes, your dog's anal sac issues stem from their diet. That's right. What goes in affects what comes out. Increasing the fiber in your pet's diet or adding a supplement to their meals can help create firm stool. That will press against the side of the colon. As it passes, it squeezes out the anal sacs naturally, and that decreases the chance of impaction. Most vets recommend messing with your dog's anal glands as little as possible to avoid causing inflammation, irritation, and future anal gland issues. So if your dog is scooting across the carpet or constantly licking at their behind, make an appointment with your vet and have your pet properly examined by a professional who can provide the relief your dog needs. There is nothing pleasant about ruptured anal sacs, and they are very fragile. So stop squeezing your dog's anal glands because you've been told by some speculating individual that this is something you should commonly and routinely do for your pet. And that includes pet groomers. Pet groomers are expected by pet owners to express your dog's anal glands every time they frequent the groomer, when the reality is this could be causing major problems for your dog's anal sacs and the future health of the anal sacs. This is what Dr. Karen Becker has to say on that subject.
And the truth is, for millions of years, dogs and cats have existed with their anal glands with no problems. Adam in the Garden of Eden didn't squeeze his dog's butt. Cavemen in caves didn't put their cats up on rocks and express their anal glands. Dogs and cats have existed in harmony with their anal glands for quite some time. So the question is, those of you that have anal gland issues with your pets, what's going on? Because it can be a really recurrent, frustrating issue. What I'll share with you is, not suspiciously, in the 40s and 50s in grooming schools, groomers were taught to, out of service, clean the dog's ears, trim the dog's and cat's nails, brush the teeth, perform grooming, and then squeeze the anal glands. And emptying the anal sacs was considered to be kind of a courtesy. The downside is pets were never meant to have those anal glands recurrently expressed. And one of the main reasons pets have recurrent problems with their anal glands is unnecessary trauma. What we mean by that is this. If every single day I told you to wake up and squeeze your submandibular lymph nodes or glands to express them, you could end up having glandular trauma. Or, for instance, if I told you to squeeze your parotid salivary ducts every single time you needed to eat to squeeze your salivary glands, you could end up with soft tissue trauma. But most importantly, these two little tiny glands on either side of your pet's rectum have a tiny duct that leads out, and when animals poop, as the colon expands, as feces come through the rectum, as the colon expands, these glands squeeze a little bit of this really stinky material on the feces that provides biochemical markers for other animals. That's why when you're walking your dog insists on stopping to smell poo. What they're picking up on is that anal gland material that contains a lot of information about the dog that was there last. So all of that's meant to work in harmony. However, if that little duct that drains the anal gland becomes swollen closed, all heck can break loose in terms of your pet's being really irritated, really inflamed, and those glands beginning to swell up and not have a porthole for that material to be able to be secreted. So what happens is groomers get in there and in an attempt to provide a service to you can actually create unnecessary trauma. Veterinarians can as well. So first and foremost, undue trauma is a major reason why animals have recurrent anal gland problems. And I would tell you that if your pets don't have anal glands right now, tell your vets and your groomers to please leave them alone. Do not automatically express anal glands. If your dogs and cats are having anal gland issues, I think it's really important to recognize this, that if there's an underlying inflammatory or infection that's an inflammatory response or low-grade infection that's already in the anal gland, sometimes gentle manipulation through a doctor that's capable of recognizing how much pressure to apply and when you need to stop squeezing is really important. But the goal is to help the anal gland retrain its muscle tone so that the body can do its job on its own. One of the biggest issues I see at Natural Pet, my practice, is that groomers have once a month, let's say, recurrently expressed anal glands, and what happens is the muscle around the anal gland that naturally has got good tone ends up losing muscle tone, and it's kind of like a balloon. When you buy a balloon, it's small and tight and perfect size, and when you blow it up and let the air out and blow it up and let the air out, eventually the balloon never goes back to its original taut, excellent small size. And when the body becomes dependent on groomers or veterinarians expressing those anal glands, oftentimes muscle tone is lost and the body ends up not being able to do its job on its own. So if muscle tone is lost through recurrent expression, what we would encourage you to do is to have your veterinarian not automatically express the gland or even the groomer, but your vet can check on a regular basis and determine, yes, the anal gland is normal size, it's not too full, the duct is working, and then you know what? Leave it alone. The second major reason why we can see recurrent anal gland issues is actually inflammation of the GI tract. And keep in mind the rectum and the anus are the very last part of the gastrointestinal tract, and any underlying disease or disease cascade that can influence the gastrointestinal tract can also influence the anal gland. So for instance, inflammatory bowel disease. If you've got inflammation of the colon, the anal glands can be affected. If you have allergies or allergic gastritis or allergic colitis, that can cause inflammation of the anal glands. And most importantly, anything that can cause soft stool, which are parasites, medications, antibiotics, anything that causes a recurrent soft stool is at great risk of causing anal gland issues, because part of the effect of a healthy anal gland is based on firm stool. And when feces pass out of the rectum, it's the pressure of firm stool against the colon wall that effectively expresses the anal glands. And if your pet's stools are recurrently soft, or if they're having diarrhea, that's really a major metabolic reason why recurrent anal gland issues can become a problem. The underlying root cause is soft stool, which you must address. Why does my pet have not healthy stools? Firm, good, healthy stools can foster excellent anal gland tone, but you have to have healthy stools. So really, anal gland problems are the secondary symptom of an underlying bowel problem. So remedying the underlying bowel problem is really important to get to the root cause of why an anal gland issue is there.
I've linked the full video in the description of this video, guys. Please go watch that full video. It will explain very much to you about anal glands.
I did it again. Forgot to turn my mic on. Okay, mic's on, sound off. Okay, here we go. I know you're thinking, well, wait, my dog's expressing their anal glands when they're barking. I saw Mendy had that question. She says, what about when they're scared and they express their anal glands? And they do. It's how they're designed, guys. But what I'm telling you today, and what I need you to hear me say out loud, is if your dog's diet and health are in check, mainly if their diet is in check, you are not going to have any issues with anal glands. None. And you want me to tell you something? I've had many dogs, many dogs, throughout my life. None of them had anal gland issues. And I was very adamant about their diet, their exercise, and so forth. So before I forget to remind everybody about flaxseed and the importance of fiber in their diet, I need you to consider that. If you're feeding kibble, add some flaxseed. I buy it off of Amazon. In fact, I've linked it in the video below here in the description of where I purchase it. It's got to be ground and milled, so it's easy for them to digest. And mix it in with their food. It just adds that fiber. Whole 100% canned pumpkin, no additives, no preservatives, is wonderful for your dog as far as to add just a little bit of that fiber into their diet so that they have normal, healthy stools. And looks like we just got super chatted. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Aunt Christine Valentino says, Aunt Christine Valentino's getting a salute. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. I know this is a tough topic, but we have to discuss it. We have to. Thank you for the super chat. You're wonderful. I appreciate it. Okay, so fiber is a definite issue, okay? We're going to be starting next week. Next week's live stream, I'm going to tell you right now. This anal gland topic kicked us off for a whole series of important facts about our dog's diet and grooming and health, overall health, that we need to discuss. And a big part of that, guys, is food. It is what we feed our dogs. And I know there's so much controversy on that very subject. And I'm going to help you. I do have a series of videos on my channel right now, guys. If you go look in the playlist section of my channel about feeding your dog, what it takes to make your dog healthy. Food is the source. Food is it. That is what we put in, is what we get out. And anal glands are designed to have a purpose. So they shouldn't become a nuisance because they're leaky or they're expressing way too often because the dog isn't expressing them naturally enough properly on their own. That's the problem. I got to tell you, it's that simple. And it's very important that we understand that just going in there and squeezing and interrupting those anal glands could be asking for a disaster for your pet, for their anal glands the rest of their lives. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you. We'll get through it. Next week's live stream topic is grooming your dog's health. That's the topic. I cannot wait to get there. But this very subject tonight about anal glands is the tip of the iceberg, and this is a perfect place for us to begin our discussions on grooming your dog's health. It's really important. So there again, guys, fiber. Remember that fiber in their diet helps tremendously. A balance of fiber in their diet, not an abundance, a balance of fiber in their diet definitely will get them on track for producing, healthy bowel movements. It will help the digestive system completely. And part of the digestive system leads into the excretion of feces, and that's where the anal glands come into play. So let me just real quick jump up here and try to stay caught up with our questions before I lose my mind in conversation. So, Mendy said what about my dog being afraid and then expressing the anal glands? I do understand that. Listen, but my thing is that shouldn't happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It shouldn't happen. And does that mean, well, then the vet needs to express my dog's anal glands? No. Your dog needs to express their own anal glands naturally when they go to the bathroom. And if they're not, then we got to take a look at some things. Is it allergies that's causing their system to be flipped upside down? If it is, we have to get the allergies in check, okay? We have to go to the source. We can't just start squeezing and emptying their anal sacs and saying, well, we solved the problem for 2 days. A week later, we're going to have the same problem. Possibly a year later, we're going to have a real messed up anal gland situation for your dog because we were squeezing them and expressing them instead of figuring out why our dog's not expressing their anal glands on their own when they have a bowel movement. That's the important thing. Okay, so let me just look at more questions here. I see Terry says, hugs help for my 2 babies is adding 1 PI. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know. Dwayne Randolph says 3-year-old male or 3-year-old male healthy pets. Bingo. The big brother is 8 pounds and Bentley is 5 pounds. Bentley scoots his butt every now and then. What should I do? I feed them Blue Buffalo Freedom dog food. Well, I definitely do think, Dwayne, that you should probably take a look at the diet. I know we're told Blue Buffalo is wonderful food. We're told all kinds of kibble is wonderful. I have my own opinions on that. I'm going to have to dive into that with you guys next week or the week after. We are going to start talking about food and some feeding options because I mean to tell you, the food has so much to do with the health of your dog, whether they do have skin allergies or not. Oftentimes it's because they're getting crappy food. Also, food can prevent cancer. What we feed them can really, really kill them. We got to talk about it, guys. I mean, I dove into that subject about a year ago and have that playlist on raw feeding. And you guys know I'm a raw feeder now for my dogs. And their health is tremendous. They have no issues. Their bowel movements are solid. They're small because they don't have a lot of waste. They don't have a lot of extra just junk in their diet. They're really getting a lean, hearty diet, but it's good for them. And their health is definitely reflecting that. But there are other options if you don't want to be a raw feeder. In my opinion, the best option is to feed raw, but it has to be done correctly. And I understand that's a scary thought to commit to that. So I'm not going to make you guys try to jump in on that idea. There are other options. We're going to talk about them. So I would say though, Dwayne, honestly, I know Blue Buffalo, is just the advertisements, the marketing says it's a really good food, but makes you wonder, don't it? You have to wonder. There are some other options there for feeding, guys. Okay, so Marlo says, hi Marlo, says, I'm okay with watching diet, but trauma, what trauma can a 10-month-old puppy have? Makes me wonder if I'm causing trauma in his life. Yikes. Well, about what? I'm not sure, Marlo. I'm not sure what you're meaning with that. I'm okay with watching diet. Yeah, when I say watching diet, though, I'm talking about what you're putting in your dog's body. And that has everything to do with why they're not expressing their anal glands properly. They could have a problem with their anal glands. That does happen. It's not very frequent that they just so happen to have a problem with their anal glands. It seems that small dogs tend to express or have trouble expressing their anal glands regularly, more so than large dogs. It seems to be easier for large dogs to express their anal glands. Is that because their stool is bigger? I'm not sure, but there's reasons for this. But what we got to understand is that feeding them has everything to do with the type of stool that they produce. And the anal gland's job is to lubricate the stool as it comes out, as well as it puts their scent, their unique stamp of who they are, it comes from their anal glands. That is a communication an animal communication thing there, right there. Tells them everything. It's like, like I said, it's like reading their profile, on Facebook. It's sniffing their butt. That's how dogs know what the profile of that dog is. Is this dog pregnant? Is this dog in season? Is this dog old? Is this dog a puppy? Is this dog a female? Is this dog healthy? Dogs can tell that when they sniff each other's butts. And we have another super chat from Dwayne. Whoa, you're getting a salute, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you listening to me talk about smelly topics like anal glands. But it's important that we do. Thank you, Dwayne. I appreciate that. So let me just take a look at more questions here. Joanne. Hi, Joanne, my friend from New York. Do your dogs like the Ollie food? My dogs are doing a test run with Ollie food. I'm feeding them Ollie pet food for about 6 weeks. I'm going to do a full demo. We are now about 2 weeks in, I believe, on the Ollie, strictly Ollie. I mean, I'm a raw feeder. I went right from raw food to Ollie. There was no transitioning on that. I didn't mix. I went straight from raw food and straight to Ollie, and there was no issues. So I was really happy to see that. Don't worry, guys. I am making a full demo on this. It will be coming out probably in 3 weeks or so. And I'm going to take you guys through that whole experience of me and Big Gus and Little Gus with Ollie pet food, and how we get it, how it's delivered, how we order it, how it's packaged, how we choose it, how the dogs like it, how we feed it, pros, cons, everything. I'm going to really take all the guesswork out of that for you guys so you can decide if that's something that you may be interested in for your pets. Right now, I can say I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. And there is a price tag that comes along with it. But of course, you guys know there's a price tag that comes along with raw feeding. And I am doing the math on that too. And from what I'm gathering already, it even looks like Ollie might be a little cheaper than what it costs me to feed my dogs raw food. I feed them good raw food. I also purchased a grinder. I'm going to show you guys all that. Mom, Alex, and I spent 4 or 5 hours grinding chicken, bone, and organ meat this weekend. That's another topic. My freezer is full. My freezer is full, and I got another shipment of Ollie coming, like in a day or so. So I got to package all that up. But to answer your question, Joanne, do my dogs like the Ollie food? They do. They love it. They go at it. They know as soon as I'm getting it out, they start licking their lips and following me around and doing the dance, just like they do when I prepare their raw food. They love it, So we're going to talk about that, but it is an option, guys, and I'm going to give you all the information that I have on Ollie pet food and do a wonderful demo for you guys. Okay, King of Leon says, my dog is a super picky eater, so I have to add salmon oil. That's okay because it's very good for them, salmon oil is, and joint powder because of their bad joints because of bad joints with her kibble. Oh, add it into the kibble. I got you. Absolutely. In fact, my mom, she has a dog named Indy. She's a cockapoo. Indy's been having some issues with her anal glands, ironically enough. In fact, she just went back to the vet towards the end of last week for a second time in a month because the anal glands were causing her a lot of problem and pain. So they expressed them the first time. Then they put her on an antibiotic because they saw a little blood when they expressed the anal glands. But I will tell you, expressing the anal glands that are inflamed or the ducts inflamed can cause a little bit of blood, like it pops the capillaries there, it's very thin skin. But they did throw her on an antibiotic just to be safe, and she seemed to be making a really nice recovery. And after, I think 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, same problem, if not worse. She was very annoyed. She would sit, when Indy's thrown off, she gets really upset and she doesn't want to do anything that she normally is part of her normal routine. She wouldn't walk around the house. She wouldn't go outside. She didn't even want to eat. She didn't want to get up. She didn't follow mom around. All because she was thrown off and annoyed by her anal glands that probably were causing her pain, we're imagining. Aside from that, they were expressing slightly, and that was bothering her. Of course, she was constantly looking at it and looking at it. Mom went back to the vet again last week. They expressed them again. So yet again, they weren't expressing them. Now, Mom was feeding Indy Fresh Pet for quite some time. And it can take a while to a problem surfaces in your dog. And it could have been the Fresh Pet. So she changed her diet. She's giving her supplements as well. And Indy seems to be doing just fine now. This has been, I think, since last Wednesday or Tuesday, and she seems to be doing good. So, you know, it can be a needle in a haystack trying to figure out why your dog's anal glands are irritated, but I want to tell you the first place you should look is what you're feeding them, honestly. And Aunt Christine says, does a dog's hair length matter to anal sacs emptying when pooping and after trimming the anal area? No, the length of the hair has nothing to do with how the anal sacs function. They function from the inside. They sit right inside internally of the anus. Remember at like 4 and 8 o'clock in position to where the anus is? That's where those sacs are. And they're soft, squishy little balloony kind of sacs. They're really not glands. Technically, they're not. But they contain the fluid. They contain that anal fluid. And that the reason they are right there on the inside of the anus is because when a dog's stool comes out, it pushes on the anal sacs and it expresses a tiny bit of anal fluid along on their stool for many reasons. So it has nothing to do with the length of the coat, but what you will notice if your dog's coat length starts to get long back there in the sanitary area, that just fecal matter will collect there, not anal gland fluid. It's fecal matter because the hair's longer and it can collect there, you know? So keeping your dog's sanitary area trimmed nicely is definitely a good thing to do for the hygiene of your dog and for you and your household. So I'd say yes, Aunt Christine, that is a no as far as does the length of the hair matter to the anal sacs. Terry says, sorry, Amy, I add 1 pump of salmon oil to their kibble 2 times or 3 times a week, and no anal gland problems. There's a great tip, Terry. See, that's why we're together here today. We're sharing what works for us. It's not going in there and squeezing on those anal glands. And groomers, if you're hearing me, if you're here tonight, you don't have to do that. The pet owners think that it's your job. You need to inform the pet owners, hey, it's not my job to express your dog's anal glands. Your dog's anal glands should be expressing on their own naturally without the help of human hands, you know. And if that's not the case, then I suggest a visit to your vet, and I suggest you and your vet talk about changing the diet, you know, and finding the right diet for your dog. It's very important. Okay, so Terry uses a pump of salmon oil, and she says that seems to help, and she feeds kibble, and she said it seems to keep everything just fine. So I think that's a great idea. I've heard a lot about fish oils and how helpful that it is. Janelle says, is raw more expensive? Is raw more expensive than Ollie? Well, hubby and I were just talking about that this weekend because we've been about 2 weeks of feeding, and I just got an email saying that they sent me another month's worth of food. It's coming any day now. So, and I do an unboxing and everything, guys. So I will walk you through that whole process when I do that demo. I'm very excited to do it. They asked me to try this food, and the only reason that I agreed to it was because I know a lot of you want to feed raw, but you just can't. You just can't do it. And that's understandable. I was on the fence about it too. So I'm always thinking, what would I feed my dogs if I couldn't feed them raw? I guarantee you 100%, guys, it is not kibble. Not one single brand of kibble is not what I would feed my dogs, and I can tell you why. Not today. I don't want to scare you off. But Ollie, so I researched the pet food and how it's made and everything that I could find out about the company, about the food, everything, before I committed to, yeah, I'll try your pet food for a month and see what I think of it, to do a review, because they asked me if I would review it. They said they believe strongly in the health benefits of their pet food, and they see that my audience is pet owners, and they said, we would love it if you could demo our food and we'll send it to you. So of course I get these offers all the time in emails on tools, on products, anything, stuff that doesn't even apply to grooming sometimes. I'm like, well, why did you email me that? But anyway, so I only will entertain things that I think would be beneficial to you guys and to your pets. And I will also only entertain things that I'm curious about to try myself, to see if, yes, would this work? I want to know too. I'm ready to dive into this. I'm ready to give it a full demo. And the Ollie pet food, I am definitely excited to bring that information to you guys, because like I said, I already researched to see, is this something that I would possibly consider feeding my dogs? And my conclusion was yes, I would. And it's going very well. So I'm going to be giving you guys that demo. And that's why I accepted the opportunity to try the Ollie food by the company, send it to me for 6 weeks, because I'm going to let you guys know. And I'm also going to walk you through the whole process of what it's like when you order it, when you buy it, what it cost. So Janelle's question was, is raw more expensive? Hubby and I were just talking about that. And as I was adding it up, because I wanted to say, yeah, it's more expensive. And then I'm adding things up, I'm going, holy crap. I said, Alex, I think I'm spending a ton of money on our dogs, feeding them raw. Much more than the Ollie pet food. So that's all going to be part of my demo, guys. I'm going to really do the math, do the numbers, so I can let you guys know that. But raw feeding is not cheap, especially if you consider I just bought a $750 meat grinder. But I want to do it. I want to do this for my pets. King of Leon said, King of Leon. That's a great band. King of Aliens. I'm sorry, honey. So does this mean that dogs should be eating raw ramen? Ramen? It's like ramen noodles. Dogs should be eating raw. It's something that not a lot of people can commit to. But that is what is definitely species appropriate food for a dog, is raw food. But it has to be prepared properly. It has to be balanced with the right amount of bone, the right amount of organ meat, the right amount of vegetation, not too much, not too little. There's a science involved in it. Cynthia says, what is a healthy firm stool color? Well, that's a good question, Cynthia. Good question. Of course, that kind of depends on what you are feeding your dog. So it's not so much the color. You definitely don't want to see red blood in your dog's stool. That's not a healthy stool. But even my dog's eating raw, depending on what the source of protein is, whether it's chicken or red meat or pork, sometimes the color of their feces is slightly different. But the consistency, the thickness of it is always consistent. And that's the important thing. But the healthy stool should look, it should be dark. It can be dark in color. Sometimes my dog's stool is almost like dark brown, really dark brown, depending on what they're eating and also what vegetables, because sometimes I give them beets and stuff like that in with their food, and that can change the look of their stool. But I want to tell you too, as far as stool goes, guys, if your dog is producing really large and really smelly stool, that's actually not a healthy stool. But we'll talk about that as we get into this series of grooming your dog's health, because that's what it's all about, guys. It's all about their health. Grooming them is about their health too, but there's so many facets to their health, and feeding is one of those facets. So Elsie says, I'll be trying the farmer's dog in a few weeks, and I will be so excited to hear about that, Elsie, because that's another one that's really highly spoken about. And it's one that people often wonder, is it worth it? You know, is this worth it for my dog? So, Elsie, you've got to keep sharing with us, okay? We would love to know. Let me see if I got another question. I see one there. Okay, Dwayne says, Dwayne Randolph, I used Eukanuba for my Yorkies for a few years ago. What I like is their poop didn't smell and it looked like rabbit pellets, but fewer and bigger. Yeah, you can tell a lot from their stool, guys. And you should always look at your dog's stool when they go. I always walk out with my dogs when I take them to the bathroom for a couple reasons. One reason is I want to make sure that they have normal, healthy bathroom habits, that there's no blood in their stool, that there's no blood in their urine, and I want to make sure that they're not struggling to go to the bathroom, because all these are things that I would need to address probably with the diet. And especially as a raw feeder, I'm really particular about paying attention to their bathroom habits to make sure there's no signs of something being wrong in their diet. So if you can, guys, always go out and watch your dog when they go to the bathroom. If your dog's having a urinary tract infection and you're not watching them, you wouldn't be aware of that. You wouldn't see the blood in their urine. If they have blood in their stool, you wouldn't see it if you weren't investigating the stool. So it's a good habit to definitely pay attention to what's coming out of your dog when they go to the bathroom. Go outside with them, guys, okay? Dwayne Randolph says, last statement. Okay, so this is the last one. We're not going to cut you off, okay? You've just given me an excellent idea for grinding my own beef hearts, chicken hearts, livers, and bones. What about leftover cooked bones for grinding? Good question, Dwayne. All bones that we give our dogs should never be cooked. Never, ever. We were grinding whole chicken thighs and legs this weekend. I mean, it's something. This grinder is amazing. All right, and it just shoots them right out, and it grinds that chicken bone just right in with the meat to nothing. And we get like a ground. It looks like ground burger when it's done, but even the bone is ground in there, so your dogs are going to get it. The reason I had to buy the grinder is because Big Gus would not eat the raw bones. You can feed your dogs you can give your dog like a half of a chicken leg, raw, never cooked, if the bone is in it. And they'll eat the bone, they'll eat it all, because they're designed to do that, and with the bone not being cooked, it's not splintering, it's not going to crumble, it's firm and chewy, actually, kind of, for them. So that's the way they're designed to eat that. Now, Gus wouldn't do it. That's why I had to get the grinder. I had to get the bone into the meat, so he was getting the bone. It's very important. But never give your dogs bones that are cooked, honey. Always raw. And never little tiny bones. I mean, chicken wings, raw chicken wings is usually an easy one for dogs to digest if you're just starting to feed them raw, if they'll eat it. My dog would not. When he bit into a chicken bone, he loved the meat, and then he bit into the bone, he was like, he wanted nothing to do with that, because I don't know, he's a princess. He's not used to it. So that's a good question. Yes, don't cook the bones, guys. If you do cook bones like I do, I take big femur beef bones and make bone broth out of it, which is good to add to my dog's food. Bone broth is extremely healthy and beneficial to your dog's health, especially if they are having some health problems. Bone broth is it's like a healer. It's good for them, trust me. But I do not give them that cooked bone. I throw the bone away then if I've cooked it. And I know the bigger bones they can usually chew on, but I don't even risk it. Dory says, hi, Amy. Is a 7-blade still considered acceptable for effective sanitary area? The 10-blade is irritating his bum and making him scoot. I understand that, but no. 7-blade has teeth in it. Your dog's skin can get caught in there. The sanitary skin can be caught in there. Always and only a 10-blade in the sanitary area. Here's the thing, if your dog is having some irritation, Dory, and I see it happening, it does happen, I always immediately put either triple antibiotic cream on the area, whether it's on their butt or on their private parts, after I've given them the sanitary trim, and it calms the skin down right away, and usually that's it. If you find the next day they're still kind of scooting or licking at it, then do that again. Put the Neosporin or triple antibiotic cream on the area that was irritated, that was a close shave, and that should clear that up right away and stop it from being a problem. We just got a super chat. Oh my goodness, from Pretty. You're gonna get a salute. Yes, you are, Mustang. Look at you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think you guys appreciate this topic, as yucky as it is. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is a yucky topic, but it's important, really important. Let's see. Terry says, was a transition from kibble to raw difficult? That's a great question. Here's the thing. And this is what I was wondering about with Ollie. I'm like, okay, yes, the transition from kibble to raw was a little tedious. I'll say that. We did have some episodes. We had some loose stools. We had frequent going to the bathroom, that kind of thing. I was worried about that with the Ollie food. I'm like, I'm going to see what happens. I'm feeding them raw, 100% raw. And this Ollie food is cooked. So it's all fresh ingredients like my raw food, but it's cooked, okay? So that's the only difference between raw and Ollie, really. And I thought, wow, but there are differences, and I wonder if it's going to upset their stomachs or cause, them to go to the bathroom like crazy after they eat it. And it didn't. So that was that told me a lot. Like I said, their bathroom habits tell us a lot, guys. When I switched from kibble to raw, it was a slow transition, and even slowly transitioning them from kibble to raw, we had some days where it was rough for them. And I'll tell you why. It's because we were going from bad crap to good crap. With for raw food and then switching to Ollie, we're going from good food to good food. There wasn't a problem. And that tells me a lot. It's the kibble. I hate kibble. I swear to God, it shouldn't even be legal. It's nothing. It's bad. It's bad, bad, bad. All right, I don't mean to scare you guys. I really don't. Janelle says, I spend $350 a month for my 4 dogs. Royal Canine. Blue gave my RIP Norton cancer. Yeah. Look at the cancer rate in our dogs these days, guys, as compared to 20 years ago. When we were feeding our dogs a lot of our own cooked food, scraps, or, just not this. It's almost like as time evolved and they're like, kibble has evolved and we've made it wonderful for pets and we've taken out all the bad stuff and now we're grain free and we put blueberries and cranberries in the food and it's a wonderful thing that we're doing for dogs and kibble. That's all marketing lies. It's all lies. There's nothing good in there. They don't get enough from it. The only thing they get from it is added synthetic vitamins that are added to your dog's food. We want them to get it from the food, right? Absolutely. And here's the thing, like Janelle said, we spend a ton of money on what we're told is good kibble. A ton of money. And it's not. And the cancer rates are so high in our dogs, much higher than years past. The lifespan of our dogs is shortening instead of lengthening. If this dog food is so good like they say it is, why are our dogs not living as long as they used to? There's a reason for that. Absolutely. And I'm not feeding them that crap anymore. I know it's in my dog's bowl because I put it there. I know everything that's in that bowl, and I love that. And I can't wait to see if my dogs live a long, healthy life, because I'm hoping they will. I'm hoping that I'm doing this for them, and it's going to pay off for them. And I believe that it will. So we'll see, guys. We hang in there, and we see. Let me just Let me just see here. Oh, King the Yorkie official. Oh, that's a cute. I love your YouTube channel, honey. I went and checked out some of your videos. So cute. Yes, that little Yorkie. All right, Janelle says my 100-pound GSD standard doodle German short hair. I don't know what GSD. I can't. Okay. My 100-pound whatever kind of dog got a UTI from having his anal glands bleed. I can see where that would happen. I leave them alone now. Thank you for confirming my intuition. Absolutely. And I think it's just sensible for it. It makes sense for us to understand that, you know, if our dogs are having trouble expressing their anal glands, what can we change in their diet to help bring it where it needs to be? You know, as if it's to the point where they're dragging their butt across the floor to try to relieve it for themselves, then, you know, their food is not helping them produce the proper stools to get this done. And it's that simple. I really do believe that. Hello, Faith. Faith has a question. What grinder did you get? Sorry if you answered this already. Just got here. Yeah. Whew. I searched that around a lot. And I would have never been able to buy that grinder if it weren't for you guys supporting my YouTube channel. Because you gave me the opportunity to spend this money on my dogs, for my dogs. This is my grinder. It's a Kitchener, whatever. It's a number 32 commercial grade electric stainless meat grinder. You guys want to see it grind meat real quick? It's just you won't believe what this thing does. This thing is oh my gosh, it's meat mania. All right, let me just see. Let me show you. Hang on, I have trouble with my phone. I have trouble understanding it. I want to turn my video around. I want to show you guys this. All right, so look at this. Keep watching. Like it's nobody's business. Just boom. Bone, meat, cartilage, tissue, everything. No problem. And then look at little Gus. He sat here. This dog sat here the whole time watching everything come out of that meat grinder. He was like, I want that so bad. It was funny. But no, I'm telling you, I told Alex after we were done, I said, all right, I did good. It was a good buy. I kept researching. I was afraid I wasn't getting a powerful enough grinder for the bone. And so it's overkill. I mean, this thing is just like, no problem. I mean, it doesn't bog. In fact, I think it speeds up when you throw meat in there. It gets crazy. All right, so yeah, it's a good one. You can give them the whole chicken carcass as long as it's not cooked. You can, absolutely, yes. It's good for your dogs, you know, it really is. Aunt Christine Valentino says, just be careful and know your dog. A dog who inhales their food like a vacuum can inhale chicken bone pieces, absolutely. And that's why I feel good about grinding it, because there's nothing for them to choke on, you know. And dogs, you're right, dogs that are like gulpy with their food, they can choke on it because they're just eating too fast. They're just too ravenously eating their food because they love it so much, you know. Hang on, let me get my chat back up here. All right, guys, there you are. Awesome. Okay, so Angelina says, does plucking a dog's ear hurt them? Sorry, not related to anal glands, but wanted to ask. It's okay, you can ask whatever questions you want. And you know I tell you guys all the time, and I mean it. No, plucking your dog's ear hair, only what's inside of the ear canal, not on the outside lobe anywhere. If it's inside the ear canal and you're taking small bits at a time, it comes right out because it's sitting in earwax. It's not really attached in there. It's not like the skin on their body. It's different. It comes out easily. If they have an ear infection or major buildup in the ear, they may act like it itches or something, because it probably does. But it doesn't hurt them. It should not be painful. If it is, then I would say maybe there's an infection if it's painful. But it's not painful. And it's okay to ask that question. I'm glad that you did. Aren't there parasites in raw food, Kathy says? No. Your raw food, you're not letting it sit out and get rancid, for one thing. Our raw food goes right to, after we prepare it, it either goes right from freezer to refrigerator to the bowl, or if you've prepared it like I do through a grinder, it goes from it goes into the freezer, and when it's frozen, obviously nothing can live in there. By freezing your meat, you're killing everything too. So I think it's always a good idea when you bring your meat home to either chop it up, do what you got to do with it right away, prepare it and freeze it, or freeze it and then prepare it. So, because that kills everything. So hopefully that helps you. And I know that a lot of people are worried about, the salmonella and the parasites, and it's just from not knowing. Guys, I've been handling their raw meat from preparing it. Gus is now eating this for, oh my goodness, is he going on 2 years of, over a year of raw feeding? Over a year of raw feeding. I know I've been preparing this meat, and I clean up everything really nicely, but no, I don't get sick. He doesn't get sick. They're designed to eat it. So yeah, don't be afraid. Kathleen says, I can't wait to listen to your show on food, grain-free, good, bad. Hey, grain-free is another topic too, that we're just being misled. Grain-free is another marketing ploy to get business. There's still an abundance of carbohydrates in grain-free food, just like there's an abundance of carbohydrates in regular kibble food. Dogs are not designed to eat an abundance of carbohydrates. That's why they get diabetes. That's why they get overweight, obesity, joint pain, because of the overweight. The list of bad effects goes on and on, starting from eating crappy food. And all kibble contains way too many carbohydrates and not enough protein for our pets, what they need. All kibble. So I do want to say that. And that is why we have seen such a high rate of unhealthy dogs, in my opinion. And Joanne says, do you feed your dogs treats? Not at all. Occasionally, like when Marlo came to visit, she gave my dogs some treats. I think they were all organic or whatever. But they don't need, I don't give them treats because I don't want them to have extra unwanted calories that don't serve a purpose for them. So I had occasionally give them some treats when I try to trim little Gus's nails. I have to bait him with food, but I could do the same with a piece of cooked chicken. Just break it up and keep it in the fridge, just little pieces of cooked chicken. That's a treat to a dog. You don't have to buy treats, guys, at the stores. Most of them are really, really junky and bad for your dog. So if you can switch up to, not giving them treats, just cook a chicken breast, a boneless, skinless chicken breast, cook it and tear it into pieces and put it in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. And once a day in the morning and in the evening, they get a treat. And that is a treat to them. They like it. So it's much more healthy too. German Shepherd dog. Thanks, Jim. I knew, Janelle, I knew what your dog was, and for the life of me, I just couldn't spit it out. Okay, Rebecca says, what do you use for training lures? My Morkie responds best to cooked chicken. She used to respond well to cheese. Your suggestions are, like you just said, whatever they respond best to. A little nibble of cheese sometimes, because they can smell that really good. Little pieces of cooked chicken. even if you just get some non-spicy beef jerky, you know, not flavored, and just tear off little pieces, it smells very, very intense to them, so they'll work for it, you know, little pieces of jerky like that, or somebody that may make homemade jerky that is not seasoned. That would be great. You know, all those things are healthy for them, and they smell really good to them, so it makes them want to work hard and earn that treat, you know, I'd say. Elsie says, that grinder will grind an entire cow whole. I know. It's intense. I said to hubby, I said, oh, we did good. I said, it grinds that bone right in there, doesn't it? And we just were laughing and having a good time. But anyway, we got to do what works, right? I'd rather have something not work as hard than work too hard and it not do a good job for me. Terry says, I know this isn't anal gland related, but I wondered whether a Kenchi straight shear is better than a curved shear for someone who isn't great at scissoring. You may like the curved better just because it kind of gives you that natural angle already to kind of, you know, to do top knots and down the shoulders and down the rump. And you may like the curved shear. I could use either a straight or a curved shear on a daily basis if I wanted to. They're both good, and it is preference. So if you ask me, would I prefer to use a straight or a curved most of the time when I'm grooming? I mostly will go for a straight shear, especially because I'm doing a lot of scissoring on the legs. The rest of the work, the body work, usually I'm just clipping, whether I'm doing snap-on comb length or blade length, and then most of my scissor work is on the head and on the legs. So that's why I like the straight shear. That's just my opinion, Terry. So hopefully that helps you. Let's see. Michelle, hello, says, this isn't a question, but there's a lot of information as to how to start transitioning your dog to raw on Facebook page called Welcome to Raw Feeding Advice and Support. Yes, there are a lot of good groups out there, guys, that would be beneficial for you to seek out if you're wanting to know more about raw feeding. And you know, you're probably going to want to do a lot of research before you even start diving in. But what I will say about feeding your dog whole foods, when I say whole foods, I mean the foods we eat, you know, not byproducts. Even if you only give them little bits at a time, like maybe you add you might add an egg on their meal, which is really good for them. And if you can keep the shell and they eat it, that's even better because you smash it up. It's got a lot of calcium in it. A little bit of sardines is really, really good. Amino acids, it's good. It's really good for them. So if you can only say give them a cooked meal, if you were going to cook for them, or raw feeding twice a week, that's better than nothing, right? That would be like twice a week they didn't eat McDonald's, they got a home cooked meal, right? You can look at it that way because that's about the way it is. And that's the same for, like, say with Ollie, if you guys are like, well, that's a big chunk to bite off and commit to feeding Ollie. And you can go to their website, guys, olliepetfood.com, and, you know, figure out what it would cost you to feed your dog that. And without having to buy it, you can go through the whole process and see what it would cost you. You can also add the Ollie to kibble if you want. And that's better than not, right? So I look at it that way. If I'm going to cook for my dogs, if I cook for them, you know, a couple times a week, and I can't do it every day, but at least they're getting some good, wholesome food, better than eating McDonald's every day, right? That's the way I see it. All right. So Muriel says, my Cocker Spaniel keeps chewing on the ends of her ears. Chewing on the ends of her ear. How does she? Oh, she can reach it? I clean her ears about every 3 weeks. Could it be an infection? On the ends of her ears? No. If she's got an infection, just lift that ear back. If there's a lot of gunk in there, and if it smells really bad, then you might want to think about taking her in to see the vet. Maybe, you know, they'll have to do a culture and see. Maybe she does have an infection. Sometimes they have an infection and it doesn't smell terrible. And we're like, really? They have an infection? Yeah, so you never know. Jamie says, I thought you cooked the meat and veggies raw. For raw food, I don't cook it. They eat it raw. They eat it raw. But people are now doing what's called home cooking. They're cooking for their dogs, and they are cooking the chicken. And the rice is the carbohydrate source instead of like, cornmeal and stuff that's in kibble. And rice is pretty decent for dogs too. Like oats are not. There's certain, but you have to do your research. You really do. But cooking for your dogs is very beneficial too, as long as you make sure that you're getting everything in the bowl that needs to be there for them, for their health. You can't just guess and say, well, this is good enough, Did we get oh my goodness, Cynthia, what did you do? Cynthia super chatted me, says, you're the best. We're the best, right? We are. We're the best. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate it. I love what we do here together. We do good things. So, Rebecca. Let me see. Joanne says, do you feed your dog treats? I answered that. Rebecca, did I get yours? Yes. See, my chat just popped up on me again. It kind of bounces around sometimes. All right. I'm going to try to get back to where I was. Okay. I thought I had covered all my questions. This says Dwayne Randolph. But how often must you feed your dog raw food opposed to kibble? I feed my dogs raw food every day, twice a day. They eat twice a day. So there's charts and information out there online that you can find that tells you how much food you should be giving your dog raw, if it depends on their weight. And like say for Big Gus, he gets about 1 pound of food a day, but I split that into 2 feedings. So that's how often I still feed them two times a day. Just like if I was feeding them kibble, I would feed them twice a day too, in the morning and the evening, so they kind of always got a little something in their stomach to digest. Rodney Habib, guys, has a great Facebook page. Also, he has a YouTube channel. He will give you some wonderful, wonderful information about raw feeding and kibble feeding and any type of feeding. He has so much information out there, guys. It is very, very good. Janelle says, how do you feel that you are feeding raw? Let me see. If Ollie is cooked, how do you feel you're feeding raw? Okay, I am feeding my dogs raw, but the meat is cooked. Ollie is something that I'm trying here. That's not a raw feeding. It's called fresh food. Fresh food. Ollie is called fresh food. What I feed my dogs is a raw diet. But right now they're eating the Ollie for a trial, and it is fresh food, meaning it's freshly prepared food. It's not rendered meat. It's not cooked for 14 days till it falls apart and it's nothing but crumbs. It's not kibble. It's fresh food. So that's what Ollie is, honey. Ollie is fresh food. And let's see here. Latricia says, hi, Latricia. Hi, Amy Lee. Can you tell me more about the feminine products when I'm bathing my stinky dog? Yes, the feminine douche. If you have a dog that smells really bad, or even if they may smell because they have a skin allergy thing going on and their skin just smells a little bit because it's off balance, the feminine douche, especially the vinegar in it, is really healthy for their skin. I wouldn't get it in their eyes, but to wash your dog, give them a good wash in the tub and heavily rinse, just to loosen up and get any of the yucky stuff off of their skin, and then rinse them with the feminine douche, like squeeze it on your dog's back, on the legs, on the neck, and let it sit. Let it sit like that for maybe 5 minutes, and then rinse it off. You will be doing your dogs a nice service there. It's very good for their skin, and it neutralizes odors. So it's going to help stop that stink for sure. It will. Very helpful. And it's really good for their skin. So give it a try. Yeah, who would have thunk that, right? Yes, get the feminine douche like Summer's Eve or Massengill, and you just squeeze it on their wet skin after you've washed them and they're still in the tub, and then rinse it off. But let it sit on them, okay? All right, so let's see. Cindy says, you don't like Fresh Pet. I was told it's very good for them. I know, everybody has an opinion. Well, after I do my own research, I make my opinions. And when I research the ingredient list on Fresh Pet, I am not very impressed with them. And I'll tell you guys how to read your labels when we get to talking about more about food in the next couple of videos here that we're going to be dealing with. It's something that we really are misled upon, guys. And I think it's important that you understand that. Oh, hey, June's in the house. Good to see you, June. Oh, man, we haven't seen you in forever. Hope you're doing well, buddy. We miss you. All right, so let's see here. Karen, let me see. Did I get you? Karen Smith says, I've been making my dog's food since he was 6 months old. He is 4 now. Never had anal gland issues. His fur is so healthy and shiny, and he never has bad wind or stinky breath. Absolutely. And that's something, though, Karen, it is so true what you put in. It affects the whole health of the dog. It certainly does. And you are seeing that for yourself, the results, by cooking for your dog, preparing their food. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. I'm so glad June's here with us. Linda says, I think you just answered the question about training treats. Thanks. Also, is there any food brand other than what you are trying and raw for Yorkie Poo or Morkie that you would recommend? As far as kibble goes, I mean, I can recommend some expensive kibble, but I can't tell you that I even think it's worth all the money. It's better than other kibble, but is it good for your dog? It's very expensive. Origin is a very good kibble. So is Carnivore. Carnivore. There's a number 4 at the end. Those are rated about the 2 highest quality kibble. And I was feeding Big Gus Origin before I started feeding him raw. So, and I had to transition him. He had some trouble transitioning over. So, you know, I do want you guys to know that. Tiffany said, I fed my dog Fresh Pet for years, and then one day last fall, it started giving him vomiting and severe diarrhea. I switched to home-cooked food and never looked back. He's doing great now. That's a wonderful testimony to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Tiffany. I've heard some bad stuff about Fresh Pet, too. I think you guys should really look into that if you're considering feeding your dogs a Fresh Pet. I know they like the taste of it, you know, but dogs also like to eat cat poop from the litter box. So maybe their palate's a little skewed. I don't know. But yeah, I want you guys to know. Bonnie says, what is the Facebook site for raw dog food? I love it here too. Oh, wonderful. Bonnie, look up Rodney Habib. Let me hit, that's not what his Facebook group is called, though. I've been listening to a lot of his videos, especially as I've been doing a lot of this research since my dogs have been eating Ollie pet food. I've been listening to a lot of information that he has to offer. His name is, if you look him up on YouTube, you can find his Facebook group. Rodney Habib. I think that's his name. I think that's how he spells it. Okay, guys? So look him up. It's either 1B and Habib or 2. I'm not sure. But he has some great information and great videos. I love him. And, you know, we have to turn to people we trust. First, we have to find the people we trust to take advice from. Marlo says, what about Fresh Pet with chicken, beef, eggs, salmon, with sweet potatoes and garden vegetables? I'm not a fan of it, Marlo. And that's all I can say is I don't feel that it covers everything with our dog's food and diet needs. I don't feel Fresh Pet gets it all covered. That's what I think. Karen says, I've already given salmon oil. Can you give ground flaxseed with this too? The salmon oil is good to help with their stool. I'd say if you're doing something that's working good, Karen, I don't see a reason for you to change it. That's just my opinion. If what you have is working, then don't change it. If it wasn't working, then maybe, you know, switch from the fish oil to the ground flaxseed, you know? So you've got to find what works, okay? Did I catch up with you guys? Inside Scoop Pet, I'm really sure. Insider Scoop. Wait. Okay, did I miss something? Something jump around here. It does jump around on me, my chat. All right, so has it been helpful, guys? Has this been helpful? Prenny, I see you have a question about what shampoo would you use on dogs with skin allergy. I really like a shampoo by, usually I would go for a hypoallergenic, like the Tropiclean puppy shampoo. It's very good. If there's skin allergies, that's just, it's not got any perfumes, it's not got any extra things in there to irritate. One thing you don't want to do if your dog has skin allergies is wash them with an oatmeal shampoo, because if the skin allergy is actually caused by a yeast problem, yeast will feed off of the oatmeal in the shampoo, so it will increase the problem. So you don't want that. You want to decrease the problem. But let me tell you another shampoo that I really like if my dog is suffering, their skin is inflamed, irritated, itchy, or allergy problems, is Tropiclean Oxymed. That's a really good one. It's a really, really good one. I love that one. So that's my answer to that, honey. Let me see. Jamie says, yeah, I've been wondering about salmon oil or other fish oils. That does help with their stool and with their anal gland problems. It's been known to, for sure. Somebody said, okay, wait, I missed it. TGTG, hello TGTG, for $9.99 a month to Inside Scoop Facebook group. Oh, is there one that you have to pay to be involved in? But it's probably worth it if you're getting the right information. Tiff says, my dog will not touch raw food. I've tried many times, but is there a decent wet food that you know of? No, I don't know of one. I'm serious. The reason is all the byproducts and stuff that they're putting in pet food. Pet food really is just made up of all the leftover stuff that we wouldn't eat. Then it becomes pet food. So yes, it's terrible crap. It really is. Very helpful. Learned so much. Oh, good. Cynthia, this is wonderful. I just love that we do learn so much together. Guys, I've kept you a long time, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to let you go. I got a lot of cool things I'm working on for you guys, and I'm working hard, and I keep yourselves together in that Facebook group here in the comment section. Keep sharing, guys. Keep our community tight and helpful. We're helping each other, and we're helping pets, and I love it. So, you know, sharing your information is definitely helping everybody. Keep sharing, guys. If you haven't joined that Facebook group, there's a link on my channel page on YouTube to join that Facebook group. And it's private, so I have to approve it. But I'll approve you, and then you'll get all kinds of great information. And another area where we can get together and share good stuff, guys. Laura says, I bought a Tropiclean hypoallergenic puppy shampoo in a small bottle. What is the proper dilution? 16:1, I believe it is, honey, because I do use that one a lot. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for coming here and spending your Monday evening with me. It means everything to have this time with you and to have us make a difference in your pets' lives and my pets' lives. And I'm very appreciative of you guys. I'll see you next Monday. You have a good week. And we started off right here on Mondays, 5:30 live from the grooming table. Here's your subscriber showdown. I love you. I'll see you next week.
important that you all be good to each other, and the practice the social distancing. So you shouldn't sniff other people's legs, and you really shouldn't sniff their crotches until this whole thing is over. That's social responsibility. So I'm here if you need me, and I'm really wishing you some good luck. Okay? All right. Bye.